insignia. We have red piping on the uniforms of the 72nd Pennsylvania because that's what they looked like. Sometimes people look real close and go, "Is that a tail?"
And it is a tail. That's because all the Union and Confederate soldiers are depicted as teeny tiny cats. Turns out the Brown twins have a thing for cats.
We've always had cats as pets. When we were young, we would pretend we would be Robin Hood and his guys, and we would be cats, and the Sheriff Nottingham and all of his guys would be dogs.
The other reason they created feline soldiers was because it's really hard to sculpt itsy-bitsy people.
We did try making people. We've made like 3, and it just didn't work, so they've always stayed cats.
Brown says visitors to their Civil War museum don't seem to mind that the preservation of the Union has been credited to cats.
The whole purpose of our dioramas really is to tell the stories of the men. You don't have to know that you're looking at cats to really enjoy it. At the same time, if you're a cat person and you're coming in because they're cats, you still get an appreciation for the history they're reflecting.
That's Rebecca Brown of the Civil War Tales Museum. That's Tales spelled T-A-I-L-S. She spoke to us over Skype from Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. And this is NPR News.
Support comes from CFA Society of Colorado, committed to setting standards for investment knowledge and ethics and to provide education within the investment community. More at cfacolorado.org.
Support comes from Planned Parenthood of the Rocky Mountains, celebrating the 100th anniversary, providing reproductive health care for the women, men, and families of Colorado. Learn more at pprm.org.
You may not think of yourself as an expert, but you are an expert in something. Your work, your passions, your neighborhood. CPR News can tap into that expertise if you'll join our Public Insight Network and share what you know. Learn more and add your name and expertise to the Public Insight Network at cprnews.org. From NPR News in Washington, I'm Dave Mattingly. Russia says it's ready to support weekly 48-hour ceasefires in Syria to allow convoys of humanitarian aid into the country. That word today from the Defense Ministry in Moscow. It follows repeated calls from the UN Special Envoy to Syria. Donald Trump is campaigning in North Carolina today. NPR's Scott Horsley says it's one of the states where the Republican presidential nominee will begin airing TV ads next week.
Also, Donald Trump is trailing Hillary Clinton in North Carolina, a hotly contested state that Barack Obama narrowly won in 2008 and Mitt Romney carried 4 years later. The Tar Heel state is one of 5 where the Trump campaign is preparing to launch its first TV ads in the general election campaign. Clinton and her political allies have already spent more than $100 million.
At the Summer Olympics in Brazil today, Jamaican sprinter Usain Bolt will be trying to win his second gold medal in Rio. NPR's Tom Goldman reports.
In the last 2 Summer Olympics, Usain Bolt won both the 100 and 200 meters. In Rio, he's halfway there, hoping to add a 200 gold tonight to the 100 gold he won last weekend. His job will be a little easier because rival Justin Gatlin of the U.S. failed to qualify for the finals, but there's still formidable competition in Canadian Andre DeGrasse and American LaShawn Merrill.
On Wall Street, the Dow is up 10 points. I'm Dave Mattingly in Washington.
This is Colorado Public Radio. I'm Mike Lamb. Good morning. The weather forecast is about what you'd expect, with temperatures in the 80s around the Denver area this afternoon. Partly cloudy skies through much of the day, getting cloudier later on, and a chance for thunderstorms and some rain along the Front Range and around Denver and across much of the state this afternoon. You can expect cooler temperatures tomorrow for much of the Denver area. Highs will be down into the 70s on Friday. At cprnews.org, there is the latest on our reporting on climate change and Colorado's national parks. Mesa Verde is where visitors see those really spectacular cliff dwellings. But climate change is putting some of them off limits as fluctuating temperatures erode the cliff faces. Our environment reporter Grace Hood went to Mesa Verde, got that story, and that and a lot of other Colorado news is there at cprnews.org. Thank you for listening this morning to Colorado Public Radio. This